My name is Pamela Starr. I'm 32 years old, and for most of my adult life, I've lived by one rule. If you don't build your own security, someone else will take it from you. What I didn't realize, what I never imagined, was that the person trying to take it from me would be the man I loved. I'm a licensed plumber in Denver. Not glamorous, not delicate, not the kind of job people associate with a soft-spoken woman who keeps her hair in a neat braid and wears tinted lip balm to feel put together. But it's a job built on muscle, grit, and showing up even when your arms ache and your hands are raw. I started as an apprentice at 19. By 23, I had my license. 4 years ago, I opened my own small plumbing shop. It wasn't easy. My first commercial space was the size of a storage unit and smelled like old insulation. My first van rattled like it was held together by prayers. Clients would ask, "You're the plumber?" with that raised eyebrow that hovered between curiosity and doubt. But I kept showing up, kept doing the work right, kept undercharging when necessary and over-delivering on every job. Eventually, word got out. Pamela Starr didn't cut corners. Now I own 3 work vans, have 2 employees, and cleared just under 6 figures after expenses in a good year. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy, but solid, reliable, mine. And then there was Nathan. Nathan Hale, 29, polished, organized, charming enough to pass as someone who had his entire life mapped out on color-coded spreadsheets. We met at a friend's rooftop barbecue. He laughed at one of my dry jokes, and I remember thinking, wow, a man who actually listens. He worked as a dental office administrator, carried a leather planner with metal tabs, always smelled faintly of citrus cologne, and knew exactly how to fold fitted sheets without cursing. He was the opposite of my world of pipe wrenches and caulk guns, and somehow that made us balance perfectly. Or so I believed. We dated for a year and a half before he moved into my apartment. I was earning more, so we agreed he'd pay 1/3 of the rent and utilities since I'd already been living there. Fair, simple, at least in theory. Nathan was responsible when it came to planning things. Dinner reservations, weekend getaways, doctor appointments. But money? That was where the polish cracked. He loved splurging on little luxuries, weekly spa treatments, expensive lunches, designer shoes that hurt his feet but completed the outfit. He spoke fluently about financial independence, but his bank account was a revolving door of paychecks in, paychecks out. I ignored the red flags. That's on me. We lived predictably. Busy weekdays, takeout nights, Netflix routines. On weekends, we scrolled through real estate listings, dreaming about a place with enough space for me to build a backyard workshop. Denver's housing market was vicious. We lost out on a townhouse, then a fixer-upper, then a foreclosure we thought we had in the bag. Offer, rejection, offer, rejection. We started joking that maybe we were cursed. But then, we found it. A small craftsman-style home near Sloan's Lake. Built in the 40s, remodeled beautifully. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a fenced yard with raised garden beds, and a detached garage with built-in shelving and lighting already installed. When we walked through it, morning sun poured through the windows like it wanted to kiss us. The hardwood floors were warm beneath my boots. The kitchen had the farmhouse sink Nathan had pinned to his vision board. It felt like our future had finally shown up. The house was listed at $385,000, reasonable for the area. Competitive, but not impossible. We needed about $92,000 liquid between the down payment, closing costs, and a small buffer. I had $80,000 just saved. $80,000 earned through burned shoulders from crawling under sinks, through winters, where my gloves froze to metal pipes, through years of driving a van that misfired every other morning. $80,000 that represented sacrifice, exhaustion, and every no I'd ever told myself. Nathan said he had $15,000. I've been saving for this, he said with a bright smile. We've got this, Pam. Finally. Something in his voice sounded rehearsed, but I dismissed the feeling. We were a team, partners. Couples are supposed to trust each other. We put together our offer, asking price, 20% down, quick close, minimal contingencies, strong enough to compete. Nathan insisted he handle all the paperwork. You already work 60 hours a week, he said, smoothing my hair behind my ear. Let me take something off your plate. It felt sweet, supportive, safe. First mistake. I should have insisted we both stay involved. But I was tired and he seemed so eager. He was the organized one, after all. He printed forms, highlighted lines, took calls from the mortgage broker, and sent flourish-filled updates like, "Everything is moving smoothly." I didn't know then what smoothly actually meant. The night before we submitted the offer, we sat at our tiny kitchen table running numbers again. Nathan tapped insistently on the calculator. "We'll need the down payment wired right away once we're approved. Better if it comes from one account," he said. Banks hate dealing with scattered sources. It complicates things. "What? So I wire the whole thing to you?" I asked lightly. He didn't hesitate. "Yes, it'll streamline everything." I stared at my laptop screen, the spreadsheet I'd built, every penny I'd saved, every scar folded into that number. "I swear I'll handle everything carefully," Nathan said, taking my hand. "It's our dream home, Pam. I want to do this right." I exhaled slowly. "Okay." Second mistake. The wire transfer went through the next morning. $80,000 leaving my account. A knot in my stomach tightening, unexplainable but undeniable. We submitted the offer. 2 days later, accepted. Nathan spun me in the living room, laughing. I let myself believe that the unease was just fear of change, that this was good, that this was what building a life looked like. Weeks passed. I worked nonstop during busy season while Nathan handled all the house stuff. Inspections, documents, mortgage coordination, apparently all under control. But whenever I asked to see the paperwork, his smile flickered. "I'll show you later. It's at the office right now. They still need to finalize it. The broker says it's too early for you to log in." Little excuses, small deflections, easy to brush off when you want to believe someone. But the feeling, the deep, unsettled tension in my chest, kept growing. And then one evening, he said something that struck me raw. "Don't worry your pretty head about it, babe. I've got everything handled." Pretty head. As if I had no business understanding my own financial future. As if I was supposed to stay quiet and grateful. Something inside me shifted. I didn't know it yet, but I was standing on the edge of a cliff, and the fall was coming. Something was wrong. Not loud wrong, not dramatic wrong. Just the quiet kind that corrodes from the inside out. Small things started stacking in my mind like loose screws rolling across a workbench. Nathan kept giving vague updates. "Paperwork is moving. Broker says everything's fine. Closing date confirmed." But every time I said, "Let me see the documents," he slid around the question like it was covered in oil. One night while we were eating reheated pasta, I tried again. "Can you pull up the mortgage portal? I want to look at the interest rate." He didn't look at me. He kept twirling noodles. "The system's glitchy. Broker's working on it." "Nathan, every lender has a portal." "Not this one," he snapped before softening his voice. "Babe, trust me, okay? I'm handling it." It wasn't just the words. It was the speed of the softening, the practiced charm smoothing over cracks he hoped I wouldn't notice. But I did notice, and so did Tessa, my closest friend and one of my employees, tough, sarcastic, and sharp-eyed. She could unclog a drain with one hand and read people with the other. We were installing a new water heater when she asked, "So, your house deal? Everything good?" "Yeah," I said automatically. Then I hesitated. Tessa straightened up, wiping her hands on her coveralls. "Pam, talk." I told her the truth. The excuses, the dodging. The way my $80,000 vanished into Nathan's account without a single document for me to review. She stared at me, expression flat. Then said the 7 words that cracked everything open. "Check the paperwork yourself. Today, not tomorrow." I felt heat rush to my face. I don't want to start a fight. He'll get defensive. "Good," she muttered. "Let him. You don't hand someone 80 grand and then hope they're being honest. Hope is not an audit." Her words hit me like cold water. After work, I drove home, sat in my van, and stared through the windshield. My chest felt tight, my breath too fast. Something inside whispered, "Look now, before it's too late." I pulled out my phone and found the mortgage broker's email address from a forwarded message Nathan once sent me. My thumbs hovered, trembling slightly. Then I typed, "Hi, this is regarding the home purchase at Onegation, where Nathan Hale and I are co-buying. Could you send me access to our mortgage portal so I can review the application?" I hit send. 5 hours later, while I was sweating under a kitchen sink replacing a disposal, my phone buzzed. The email preview made my blood run cold. "I only show Nathan Hale as the sole borrower on this application." I froze. Everything around me, the hum of the refrigerator, the running faucet, the metallic smell of wet pipes, fell away. Sole borrower, sole owner, sole applicant. I read it again. and again, and again. Each time, it felt like a new punch to the ribs. My hands shook so hard I dropped my wrench. Tessa walked in from outside. You okay? I handed her my phone. She read the email once. Her face darkened instantly. Pam, he cut you out. My throat tightened. No, there must be a mistake. The broker must have messed up. He must have left my name off accidentally. Tessa's voice softened in that rare way she reserved for moments when the truth was unavoidable. He did this on purpose. The rest of the day passed in a fog. I finished jobs mechanically. My mind couldn't stop spinning. The money, the secrecy, the deflections, the charm pushing me away from questions. He'd never planned to put me on that house. By the time I drove home, my hands were gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles hurt. I parked outside our apartment and didn't get out. Instead, I called the mortgage broker. This is about the Hale application, I said, voice steady, though my pulse was racing. Has the down payment been transferred? No, the broker replied. Funds transfer at closing. Good. My voice turned colder, harder. Place a hold on the application immediately. I am disputing the source of funds. That $80,000 is mine. Silence. Then the broker exhaled sharply. Understood. I'll notify all parties. Next call, my bank. They couldn't reverse the transfer, but documented the dispute and prepared a letter confirming the funds originated exclusively from my account. Next, a real estate attorney recommended by Tessa. After hearing everything, he didn't hesitate. This is classic ownership fraud, he said. We can stop the purchase and pursue recovery. I walked into a nearby hotel lobby and booked a room. No bag. No plan beyond getting away before Nathan could talk me into doubting myself again. I left him a note on the kitchen counter. We need to talk, you know why. I'm at the downtown Marriott. I turned off my phone for an hour just to breathe. When I finally turned it back on, 17 missed calls, 4 voicemails, 6 texts. Nathan, Pam, what's going on? The broker is freaking out. What did you do? Where are you? This isn't fair. Nothing happened. You're overreacting. Please answer me. I can explain. Explain. I almost laughed. For hours, the messages continued. Confusion, panic, anger, guilt-tripping. The classic sequence. Finally, I replied once. There was no mistake. You applied on your own. I'm withdrawing my money. My lawyer will contact you. The typing bubbles appeared instantly, then disappeared, then appeared, then disappeared. Finally, Pam, please, I didn't mean to hide it. I was going to add you later. Don't do this. Come home so we can fix this. Fix. Like I was a broken faucet. I didn't reply. That evening, when I returned to the hotel after grabbing dinner, Nathan was sitting alone in the lobby. His hair was messy, his face pale, his leg bouncing uncontrollably. The polished version of him had cracked. The moment he saw me, he stood quickly. Pam, please, we need to talk privately. I didn't move. Talk here. His eyes glistened. This is all a misunderstanding. You applied for the mortgage alone using my money. It wasn't like that. What was it then? He swallowed. The broker said it would be easier to apply solo at first. I was going to add you later. That's a lie. He told me no such thing. Nathan's mouth opened, but no words came. I stepped closer, voice steady, cold, devastatingly clear. You were never going to add me. You wanted the house for yourself, paid for by me. The tears spilled over now, big, dramatic, rehearsed. You're being cruel. No, I'm being awake. He reached for my arm. Pam, this was our dream. I stepped back. No, this was your scheme. For the first time, Nathan's expression shifted. Not sad, not apologetic, but something darker. Anger, entitlement, fear of losing what he thought he already owned. In that moment, everything clicked. He truly believed I wouldn't catch him. He thought I would stay quiet. He thought I would stay grateful. He thought I would stay blind. Not anymore. I turned away. Nathan's voice cracked behind me. What am I supposed to do, Pam? I can't afford the house alone. I didn't stop walking. That, I said softly, is no longer my problem. The morning after everything blew open, I woke up in the stiff hotel sheets with a ringing phone and a hollow ache in my chest. I wasn't crying. I wasn't even shaking anymore. I felt empty, like the storm had passed but left a crater behind. The phone kept vibrating. Not Nathan this time. Sharon, his mother. Of course. I didn't pick up, but the voicemail came through almost instantly. Pamela, sweetheart, this is Sharon. Nathan is distraught. He told us you're having doubts. These things happen in relationships, but destroying a home, purchase over a misunderstanding, is extreme. Please call him. This is not how adults resolve problems. A misunderstanding. Adults. That was the tune they were going to play then. I forwarded the voicemail to my attorney as instructed and blocked Sharon's number. I'd already learned that the quieter I became, the louder they got. By noon, Nathan's sister Bailey texted me from a number I didn't recognize. "You're ruining my brother's life because you're emotional. Grow up." I stared at the message. A slow exhale left my lungs. Then another. The arrogance was almost laughable. I didn't respond. Silence was a language they didn't understand, and that made it powerful. That afternoon, the official notice from the mortgage broker hit my inbox. Loan application suspended due to disputed funds. Sellers notified. Closing canceled. I wondered how Nathan reacted when he saw that email. Slammed his fist against something? Threw paperwork across the room? Collapsed and cried again? Whatever it wasn't my burden anymore. Less than an hour later, Sharon emailed again. "Pamela, why would you sabotage your own future? Nathan worked tirelessly to secure that house for both of you. He's devastated. If you keep this up, you'll destroy everything you've built together." There it was, the gaslighting crescendo. The "he worked tirelessly" part nearly made me choke. Worked tirelessly? I was the one who saved for 6 years. I was the one who skipped vacations, skipped upgrades, skipped comfort. I was the one who poured sweat into every dollar of that $80,000. Nathan had contributed enthusiasm. My attorney's advice echoed in my mind. Don't respond to anything except official legal communication. So I didn't. By day 3, the sellers had accepted a backup offer. Our dream house was officially gone. Nathan sent me one message that day. "Hope you're happy. You ruined everything." I stared at the text long enough to feel my pulse slow, my breathing settle, the clarity settling in. I didn't ruin anything. He did. And deep down, he knew it. 4 days after everything collapsed, my attorney sent a formal demand letter to Nathan. "Return the $80,000 within 10 business days, or we file for fraud and unjust enrichment." Nathan's reply came through his new lawyer. Yes, he hired a lawyer. Apparently, the misunderstanding was serious enough that he now needed legal representation. The letter read, "Mr. Hale disputes your client's characterization of the $80,000 as a conditional contribution. It was a gift given in the context of a committed relationship. Mr. Hale has suffered emotional and financial damages due to Ms. Starr's abrupt withdrawal from the home purchase." A gift. They were calling it a gift. My attorney laughed out loud when he read the letter. A gift? He's digging his own grave. Let him. Meanwhile, I moved into a temporary rental. Small, clean, cheap, while lawyers did their work. I didn't want to go back to the apartment Nathan and I had shared, not until the lease was over, not with the possibility of him showing up again. Tessa helped me move. She threw a duffel bag into the back of my van and muttered, "He picked the wrong woman to scam." "I should have seen it sooner," I said quietly. "No," she snapped, standing firmly in front of me. "You trusted someone you loved. That's not stupid. That's human." Her words cracked something inside me in a way nothing else had, but I wasn't ready to cry. Not yet. 2 weeks into the dispute, discovery began. My attorney subpoenaed mortgage documents, lender emails, text message logs, call logs, bank records. I thought I was prepared. I wasn't. The mortgage broker sent a folder of emails showing that Nathan never mentioned me as a co-owner, never disclosed that the down payment came from my account, repeatedly referred to the house as my purchase, told the broker I had no financial involvement whatsoever. My stomach twisted as I read each message, but nothing compared to what came next. Among the subpoenaed documents were screenshots of Nathan's texts with his sister Bailey. The first one stopped me cold. Bailey: "So Pam pays most of the down payment, but you get full ownership?" Genius. Nathan: "Shh, she doesn't need to know the details. It's protection. In case things don't work out. She's always so distracted with work, she won't even notice." I felt physically ill. Then the next one. Bailey: "My brother the mastermind. Get that house, king." Nathan: "I'm doing all the work anyway. Why should her name be on what I'm paying for?" Paying for? My attorney placed a yellow sticky note beside those texts. He'd written, Exhibit B through E. I stared at those screenshots for a long time, a very long time. Tessa was with me. She read them over my shoulder. "Pam?" Her voice trembled with anger. "Take him to court. Burn the whole thing down." I didn't trust myself to speak. But inside, somewhere deep and cold and finally awake, I whispered back, "I will." The next day, Nathan showed up at my work site. I'd been replacing a sump pump in a client's basement when I heard someone pounding on the top of the stairs. Pam, please, we need to talk." The client, an older woman, looked alarmed. "Is everything all right, dear?" "Just a personal matter," I said, climbing the stairs. Nathan was red in the face, out of breath, eyes wild. His voice cracked. You're blowing everything out of proportion. You're listening to lawyers instead of your heart. I folded my arms. He took a step closer. We can fix this. You and me. We don't need courts. We don't need lawyers. We just need to talk. You lied for weeks, I said evenly. You tried to steal from me. I didn't steal. I was protecting myself. I blinked slowly. That's what theft is, Nathan? His jaw twitched. Then he whispered something that chilled me. You're going to regret doing this to me. The threat was quiet, soft, nearly tender, but unmistakable. I backed up one step and said clearly, leave, now, or I call the police. For a moment, his expression twisted. Anger, fear, indignation, and then he stormed out, the basement door slamming behind him. I went back downstairs to finish the job, my hands steady. I'd spent enough of my life being polite, enough being trusting, enough giving the benefit of the doubt to those who didn't deserve it. Now I was done, and court was coming. The courtroom was colder than I expected, not in temperature, but in atmosphere. Sharp, sterile, unforgiving. The kind of cold that strips away excuses and leaves only truth behind. Nathan arrived early with his lawyer, hair slicked back, wearing a pressed navy suit. He looked polished again, the version of himself he preferred to show the world, the version that never forgot to smile at the right times, the version that could sell anyone on the idea that he was the victim. His mother Sharon sat directly behind him, lips pursed, arms crossed. Bailey lounged beside her, smirking at me, like we were at some twisted family reunion. I walked in with my attorney, dressed simply, gray slacks, black blouse, nothing flashy. I didn't need theatrics. I had truth. When Nathan saw me, his face softened, as if willing me to remember some idealized version of us. The version where I trusted him. The version where he could lie without consequence. That version was dead. The judge entered. Everyone rose. What followed felt like a slow, methodical dismantling of everything Nathan thought he could get away with. My attorney started by laying out the facts clearly, unemotionally. I wired $80,000 to Nathan's account for the joint purchase of a home. Nathan applied for the mortgage as the sole borrower without informing me. He misrepresented to the lender that I had no financial involvement. He misled me about the paperwork. He tried to finalize the purchase with his name only on the deed. Each point hit like a nail sealing a coffin. Nathan's lawyer stood, smiling thinly, and began spinning a story about romance, commitment, and shared assets. Your Honor, he said, gesturing toward me, Ms. Starr gave Mr. Hale the funds as a gift. In the context of a committed partnership, such contributions are common and should not be misconstrued as transactional. My client believed the funds were freely given. The judge looked over her glasses. Ms. Starr, did you gift him $80,000? I sat up straighter. Absolutely not. Did you ever at any time express that the funds were intended as a gift? No. Did Mr. Hale ever inform the lender that the majority of the down payment came from your account? No. The judge turned to Nathan's lawyer. Continue. He tried. He really did. He painted Nathan as the devoted partner who had been blindsided by my emotional volatility. He even suggested I sabotage the house purchase out of spite. But then came the smoking guns. My attorney pulled out Exhibit B, the text messages between Nathan and Bailey, projected onto a large screen for everyone to see. Bailey, so Pam pays most of the down payment, but you get full ownership? Genius. Nathan, shh. She doesn't need to know the details. It's protection, in case things don't work out. She's always so distracted with work, she won't even notice. Bailey, my brother the mastermind. The courtroom fell silent. Nathan's face turned ashen. His lawyer looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. But my attorney wasn't finished. Then came the emails between Nathan and the mortgage broker. I'll be the only one on the loan. No, she isn't contributing financially. My partner isn't involved in ownership. The judge leaned back in her chair, eyebrows raised in disbelief. Mr. Hale, she said, would you like to explain why you represented to the lender that Ms. Starr had no involvement while simultaneously taking her money? Nathan swallowed hard. I was planning to add her later. My attorney cut in. After securing full ownership for yourself? Nathan's voice cracked. It wasn't like that. The judge stared at him for a long moment. A heavy, suffocating silence filled the room. Then she spoke. Mr. Hale, this is not a misunderstanding. This is intentional deception for personal gain. Ms. Starr's funds were given explicitly for a joint purchase. You attempted to exclude her from ownership while using her money. That is not love, partnership, or miscommunication. She paused, her words sharp as a blade. That is fraud. Sharon gasped audibly. Bailey looked like someone had slapped her. My heart pounded hard enough that I could feel it in my fingertips. Therefore, the judge continued, I am ordering the full restitution of $80,000 to Ms. Starr, plus interest, plus all legal fees incurred as a result of your misconduct. Nathan's head dropped. And, the judge added with emphasis, if you fail to remit payment within the next 30 days, Ms. Starr is authorized to pursue garnishment of your wages and seizure of personal assets. A final blow, a clean, decisive strike. It was over. The moment we stepped into the hallway, Nathan rushed after me. Pam, please, please, he cried, grabbing at the air between us as if trying to pull me closer. I don't have that money. And the loans, I can't. This will destroy me. I didn't stop walking. You destroyed yourself, I said quietly. He choked on a breath. Just give me time. Let me make payments, please. My attorney stepped between us. You can negotiate through counsel. Do not speak to her directly again. Nathan looked at me one last time, eyes frantic. Pamela, I loved you. I met his eyes with the steady calm I hadn't felt in months. No, I said. You loved the house, and the idea of me funding your future. His face crumpled, and then he was gone. Sharon stormed up next, finger pointed at my chest. You selfish, ungrateful Tessa, who had deliberately taken the day off to support me, stepped in front of me, towering over Sharon by a full 6 inches. Say one more word, Tessa growled, and I'll make sure security walks you out. Sharon's mouth opened, then shut. She turned away with a furious stomp. Bailey followed her, but not without shooting me one last venomous glare. I didn't care. Their anger couldn't reach me anymore. I was untouchable to them now. 29 days later, the wire transfer arrived. All $87,000. My original 80 plus interest and attorney fees. Tessa was with me when I saw the notification. She lifted an imaginary glass. To justice, she said. To learning, I replied. To never letting a man near your bank account again, she added. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in weeks. The aftermath rippled through Nathan's life like a quiet implosion. He had to move in with his parents. The personal loan he'd taken hit his credit hard. Many of his friends distanced themselves once the truth got out. His sister Bailey's fiancé reconsidered their engagement after reading the texts. Even his ex-girlfriend, Brielle, sent Tessa a message. He tried something similar with me years ago. I'm glad someone finally stopped him. And me? I rebuilt. I rested. I reminded myself that trust is a gift, not a weakness, and that love without respect is nothing. My business continued to grow. I upgraded my tools. I took a weekend trip alone, my first in years. As I stood on a quiet overlook in the Rockies, wind tugging at my braid, I realized something.